Hi and welcome back to the second video about Daemon Targaryen's life, and I really recommend you go out and check out the first video because otherwise you're going to be very confused because we are smack dab in the middle. And without further ado, let's begin. After returning to King's Landing, Daemon remained there for half a year, and he even resumed his seat on the small council. He returned to the establishments on the Street of Silk where he'd been a very valued patron, and resumed contact with old companions from the Goldcloaks. Daemon treated Queen Alicent with the courtesy of her station, though there was no warmth between the two. And he was notably cold toward his nephews, Queen Alicent's children, who'd pushed him even further down the succession list, and Daemon was petty. No wonder he was mad. However, Princess Rhaenyra, the heir, was an entirely different matter. Daemon spent long hours in her company, enthralling her with tales of his journeys and battles. He gave her pearls and silks and books and a jade tiara said once to have belonged to the Empress of Lang, read poems to her, dined with her, hawked with her, sailed with her, entertained her by making mock of the greens at court, the lickspittles fawning over Queen Alicent and her children. He praised her beauty by declaring her the fairest maid in the 7 kingdoms. Uncle and niece began to fly together, almost daily, racing Syrax against Caraxes to Dragonstone and back. So from this quote you can see that they were very close, and it ended up in Daemon being sent away again, and sources diverge, but according to Sept and Eustace, Daemon was sent away for seducing and claiming Rhaenyra's maidenhead. The courtful Mushroom tells a tale of how Daemon would give Rhaenyra lessons in the art of love, would smuggle her out dressed as a page boy to the Street of Silk where she could observe men and women in the act of love. Mushroom also spoke of flights to lonely rocks in Blackwater Bay where Daemon would teach Rhaenyra how to properly pleasure a man. Viserys, of course, refused to believe a word of it until Daemon confirmed it. "Give the girl to me to wife. Who else would take her now?" Prince Viserys did not allow Daemon and Rhaenyra to marry, but instead exiled Daemon and warned him not to return to the 7 kingdoms under the pain of death. Prince Daemon returned to the Stepstones. And in 115 AC, his wife of 18 years, Rhea Royce, died after falling from her horse, and Daemon flew at once to the Vale to quote-unquote put my wife to rest, though it's more reliable that he wanted to lay claim to her lands, castles, and incomes, because it was very known that the two didn't like each other. He failed in that, and runestones fell into the hands of Rhea's nephew. And when Daemon made an appeal to the Eyrie, Lady Jane Eyre dismissed his claim and warned him that he was not welcome in the Vale. So bored and maybe penniless, Daemon decided to make a courtesy call to his partner in conquest, Corlys Velaryon. It was at Driftmark that Daemon's eye fell upon Lord Corlys's daughter, Laena Velaryon. Laena was a maid of 22 years and was tall, slender, and surpassingly lovely. Even Mushroom was taken with her beauty, writing that she was almost as pretty as her brother. She'd been betrothed at the age of 12 to the son of the Sea Lord of Braavos, but the Sea Lord had died, and the son had squandered his fortune, so Lord Corlys kept putting the wedding off. The singers said Daemon fell in love with Laena, and the cynics said that Daemon saw her as a way to check his own descent. So Daemon asked for Laena's hand in marriage, and then killed her betrothed in a duel, and wed Laena a fortnight later without Viserys' consent. Daemon knew that King Viserys wouldn't be pleased with the marriage, and thusly removed him and his new bride from Westeros. They flew to Pentos first, and then Volantis, and after that Qohor, and then Norvos. And everywhere they went, huge crowds gathered for a glimpse of the great Vhagar and Caraxes. Oh, I forgot to mention, Laena rode Vhagar, the ancient beast. And in 116 AC, in the free city of Pentos, Laena gave birth to twins, whom they named after their paternal and maternal grandparents. So, Baela after Baelon the Spring Prince, Daemon's father, and Rhaena after Laena's mother, Princess Rhaenys Targaryen, the queen who never was. They were born small and sickly, but had the fine features of the dragon lords of old. And after half a year, when the twins had grown stronger, Daemon wrote to King Viserys. He wished to present Rhaena and Baela at court, and King Viserys, who missed his brother and was always wont to see the good part in Daemon, said, Daemon is a father now. He will have changed. And though the Princess Rhaenyra despised her stepmother, she took to her good sister Laena. And with the blessing of King Viserys in 118 AC, Princess Rhaenyra announced the betrothal of her two eldest sons, Lucerys and Jacaerys, to Rhaena and Baela, and they were all happy for a time. But it wouldn't last. And in 120 AC, a day and night of labor left Laena pale and weak, but finally she gave birth to the son that Daemon so desired. The babe was born twisted and malformed and died within the hour. Laena lingered on in delirium for 3 days and then died at 27 years of age. During her final hours, it is said that she rose from her bed and pushed away the septa praying over her and made her way from her room, intent on reaching Vhagar that she might fly one last time before she died. Her strength failed her on the tower steps, however, and it was there that she collapsed and died. Her husband, Prince Daemon, carried her back to her bedward. Laena's brother Laenor also died later that year from being murdered in Spicetown. And in 120 AC, news reached the court that Princess Rhaenyra had remarried, this time to her uncle, Prince Daemon. Rhaenyra was 23, while Daemon was 39, and this caused an outrage because neither Daemon's wife nor Rhaenyra's husband had been dead for half a year yet. And in the end of that same year, Rhaenyra gave birth to a small but robust son with pale silvery hair and dark purple eyes. She named him Aegon. Prince Daemon had at last a living son of his own blood, and this new prince, unlike his 3 half-brothers, was plainly a Targaryen. And in 122 AC, Princess Rhaenyra gave birth yet again to a second son whom she named Viserys in honor of her father, though, quite ominously, the egg placed in his cradle never hatched. But however, it was a prosperous time. But in 129 AC, King Viserys died and chaos descended upon them all. And though he declared Rhaenyra his heir publicly, Sir Criston Cole and the Greens crowned Aegon the Older, Rhaenyra's half-brother, as king. And when the news reached Rhaenyra, who was heavily pregnant at Dragonstone, it sent her into a rage, and she went into early labor cursing everyone, even the child inside her womb. "Monster, monster, get out, get out, get out," she was heard to scream at the child within her. And it came out at last, twisted and malformed, with the stub of a tail and a hole where her heart should have been. And they named her Visenya in honor of the warrior queen. "She was my only daughter, and they killed her. They stole my crown and murdered my daughter, and they shall answer for it," Rhaenyra was quoted to have said. Lord Celtigar of Claw Isle urged Rhaenyra to take King's Landing with her dragons, but Daemon said that they must have a crowning ceremony for Rhaenyra too, to answer Aegon's. After that, they would send out ravens calling on the lords of the Seven Kingdoms to declare their allegiance to their true queen. We must fight this war with words before we go to battle. And this was the beginning of the end. And I think it's time to wrap up part 2, and hopefully you won't have to wait very long for part 3 because it's already in the making. But thank you guys for watching and supporting me. Put on post notifications so that you're always notified when I post, and have a nice day, guys. Bye.